Worried Huntress says, Dark omen. Even the Delam gun could not stop it. Confident tribesman says, he's just a man. Powerful, but just a man. Are they talking about the intruder? Thou 6 Arcanon, I assume. Worried Huntress. A Glanfathan woman stares at the ground. Her bushy eyebrows frown in a straight line. Never before has a man slipped past with so much ease. A sign, a dark sign. Confident tribesman. An elven man waves his hand in an arc over the ground. It has come to pass. At the end of the motion, his long fingers close into a fist. We could not have foreseen it. The Delam gun could not either.
Many blessings, traveler.
The worried huntress shakes her head. And what does that tell us? She notices you, her thick eyebrows arching in surprise. Estramor, excuse us. We are not used to your kind here, under the great trees. If we can assist you, we will. Aris says, tell me about the man you speak of. Worried Hunter says, not Glanfathan. Broke into the tower, here, in Elm's Reach. Nobody saw him come, not even the Delam gun. The tower, you mean Teir Evon? Confident tribesman says, he moved in silence, like a stelgaer in the shadows. Our hunters caught no scent until it was too late. Worried Hunter says, but we heard the stones crack. When he stepped inside Teir Evron, dark omen I say this. Aris asks, Delemgan, what are they? Confident tribesman says, they are ancient children of the giant elms. Our people have lived with the two sisters in peace since we arrived hundreds of years ago. Worried Hunter says, Delemgan call us friends. We call them our own kin. Our protection, their wisdom. Together we share a strong bond. Confident tribesman says, they have always lived under the shadow of the great elms. Walk until you cross the stream, and there you'll find the Delemgan sisters. Aris says, goodbye. Worried Hunter says, nobody knows his power. Not the Delemgan, not us. Confident tribesman says, we'll hunt him down wherever he hides. Hunter says, provisions and trade happens in the market, Northwest Hearthsong. Yes, I've been there.
Let's see what lies this way.
Why can't I interact with the glass symbol over this object? Strange. Hunter says, for shelter, stay at the inn on the southeast end of Halcyon. You mean the celestial sapling? Yeah, I've been there. The fire gives off the thick, rich odor of burning peat. Okay, provisions and markets, I've known that. Even the tongues of stone bramble are livelier than yours, says the tribeswoman.
Nice and quiet.
Arthuen says, And this when I pierced the giant Stelgaer with my spear, right through its heart. Warrior says, "Oh, Arthwen, I wish I could have seen you do it. Me too, and maybe, later, you can show us how you use your big spear." Arthwen, yes. Arthwen says, "Oh well, yes, I can do that." Big spear? Is that innuendo? Who are these warriors? Ah, female warriors. Of course they want Arthwen's big dick, I think. Warriors says, "Don't you have somewhere else to be? I'm listening to Arthwen now. Arthwen the big dick." Warrior says, "I wish all hunters of Twin Elms were as young and strong as Arthwen. Yeah, you want his D, don't you? And his body as well, and his stamina." Let's speak to Arthwen. Arthwen, a lanky hunter, grooms his stubble, a patched fuzz of blonde hairs, while listening attentively to a young elven woman. She whispers in his reddened ears and giggles. With his head still lowered, he flashes a wide smile in return. "Okay, what is this young elven woman warrior whispered to Arthwen's ears?" Maybe she says something like, "Hey Arthwen, you're so strong. Come to my place later and impregnate me," or something like that. I bet her vagina is warm right now. Arthwen the hunter notices you. He clears his throat and straightens his back, adopting an air of dignity. "I've been expecting you." "Really? Why?" Arthwen says, "My tribesmen have told me that you are to speak the truth about Fiorm's exile." Arthwen combs his sparse stubble, darting a glance to the elven woman. Well, Arthwen doesn't hide from the truth. Ask and I'll answer. Aris asks, "What happened to Fiorm?" Arthwen looks down and licks his lips. Fiorm. Arthwen pushes the blonde bristles away from the edges of his mouth. Every tribe knows his prowess, a hunter of great name, but this time he fell behind. We spotted the giant Stelgaer on the Sentinel's Ridge, above the waterfall of the Northweld. It was stalking for prey. Arthwen lightly shakes his head. Fiorm wanted us to split. He'd lure the beast to the river, and I'd flank it. Arthwen the hunter scratches his flushed earlobe, but the beast didn't come down to the riverbank, so we tried to circle it on the ridge. I climbed faster, and there it was, ready to pounce on me. Arthwen thrusts his fists forward. I pierced flesh mid-air, rolled over, and stabbed it again and again. And it was dead. Arthwen the hunter pushes his mustache back and looks up. Fiorm couldn't believe he didn't earn the kill, not even a cut. He said he'd not return with the shame of losing to a twice-split arrow. Arthwen sighs. I pleaded, but he was a keeper of the stone, he'd not listen, and now he's exiled, who knows where. Aris says, "Tell me about your tribe." Arthwen says, "We're young, the youngest tribe in Erglanfath." Arthwen hesitates for a moment, scratching his beard, and then spreads his long legs apart. "But we're not weak. The other tribes have their history, and now we, the twice-split arrows, are making our own." Wait, what does it mean by Arthwen spreading his long legs apart? Is he doing a split? Arthwen puffs his chest and pounds it with a fist. "We are true Glanfathans, true hunters. I've proven our worth." Arthwen's Patches of golden stubble sparkle alongside a glowing smile. It was me, not Fiorm, who killed the giant Stelgaer. Ari says goodbye. Arthur says, I'm still here. Ask anything you must have. Okay, so I guess we have to go to this Northweld waterfall and find out any evidence to either support or disprove Arthur's claims. I see.
I'll have this open in no time. It's done.
Simok says, come to treat with the 3 tusks Stelgaer. To treat? What do you mean to treat? I'm just here to sightsee first. Wait, why is this hall of warriors dominated by 3 tusks Stelgaer? Huh? The table is scarred and stained from years of use. The crates contain the few necessities of a Glanfathan traveling party: furs and blankets, sturdy hide clothing, and gifts of carved adra. Though simple and unadorned, the blades are made of sharp and finely tempered steel. Finely tempered steel? What is that? Stealing? Why all this stealing? Three Tusk, Wilder woman says, this is a place of honor for our visiting Anamfatha. Some may disagree with Simok's methods, but all respect him. Three Tusk First Blade says, Bethuel is too soft. It is good that Simok is here to provide another perspective. Simok has led the 3 Tusk Stelgaer as long as any of the Anamfatha. Bethuel is from the Guided Compass, right? The one we spoke with in the Passage of the Six. Three-Tusk First Blade says, leaders like Simok have long protected us from the Estra Morwen. I see.
What brings you here?
Simok, a grizzled old elf, his hair braided and dyed, stands at one end of the hall. His arms and chest are cross-hatched with the pale seams of scars. His crooked smile looks like another. It's not many Estra Morwen who are permitted into our sacred city. Bethwell must be feeling especially soft today. Eder pays no attention to the elf and instead has locked eyes with Estelgaer. In front of him, he whispers to you, "Do you think he'd mind if I pet his Stelgaer?" Well, don't, Eder, you might lose your hand. Sagani lowers her head. Remember how well that worked out last time? Sagani is referring to when Eder tried to pet Itumak. Yeah, he got bitten. Simok says, "Come to hear your future at Teir Evron." Simok's smile widens, exposing a row of yellowed, crooked teeth. "Or to make your own at Blood Sands." Aris asks, "What's Blood Sands?" Simok says, "An ancient place of sacrifice." He laces his fingers together, "in a cave by the great elms themselves." Reshtin and his druids have been an integral part of Glanfathan society for generations. No matter what some of the other tribes might say, Eir Glanfath has held its own against the Estra Morwen because some of us still understand the power of sacrifice. Simok gives you an appraising eye. Does the thought make you uncomfortable? It should. It is what's kept our society alive for so long. Simok crosses his arms over his scarred chest. Something else? Aris says, "You don't seem fond of us, Estra Morwen." Simok's hunched shoulders straighten. "I fought in the Birkenstone War and the War of the Black Trees. I saw my brethren cut down defending the places of the builders, and I shed blood alongside Galvin Reged himself." Reged? Is that the Orlan who led the Glanfathans in those two wars against Deerwood? Simok coughs. Now the Estra Morwen seem to think that they will find a cure for their empty children among our sacred sites, or worse, that they will find sanctuary in our lands. Simok's gaze darkens, and I've seen what happens when they set their sights on Glanfathan soil. War? Eder says, "From what we've seen, those sacred sites might actually have a cure. They protect those sites because someone told them to. You wish just once they'd have the courage to question it." Aris says, what would Aris say in response to Simok? Aris asks, and this worries you? Simok snorts. I've seen too many wars for this not to worry me. In my 250 years, I've led my people through 2 wars. Our borders have remained intact, and largely through the reputation of 3 tusks Stelgaer. Simok's voice drops to a growl. I've sired a dozen children, but none have been deemed fit to take my place. I care nothing for the legacies that obsess the Estramorwan lords, but it is important that my successor continue this path. Simok said he led his people for 250 years. I'm guessing it includes his past lives, right? Aris asks, is your role hereditary? Simok says, not entirely. We believe that the souls of our ancestors come back to us, that a strong soul may bear many more, but all souls must be tested by our elders. The Riao looked first among my children for a successor, but their souls were weak. Ordinarily, they would turn to others in my tribe, to clan heads and their families. Ordinarily, Simok levels his gaze, but we share a tradition of fostering the children of other tribes, and the Anamfath of Fisher Crane has trusted his youngest to my care. Simok grimaces, and as none of my own blood are fit to take my place, the Riao will look next to this bog child, the kin of another Anamfath, and my foster daughter, to take my place. The 3 tusks Stelgaer has a tradition of fostering the children of other tribes. Why? Why? Is it only for the 3 tusks Stelgaer? Or is it also the same for other tribes? Maybe because the 3 tusks Stelgaer is known for their warrior ways. That's why other tribes entrusted their potential individuals to the 3 tusks, so these children can be tempered into great warriors or something like that. Simok mentioned bog child. I'm assuming it refers to Thane Bog, so it must be a child from the Fisher Crane. Oh yeah, of course. Simok mentioned Fisher Crane. Fisher Crane is mostly Orlans, according to Bethwell. So I'm curious, is this daughter, this foster daughter, is she an Orlan or another kith? Aris asks, bog child? Simok's shoulders stiffen. I've nothing but respect for Fisher Crane, but their ways are not ours. The Orlans of Fisher Crane have lived in Thane Bog for 1,000 years. They are cunning and furtive by nature, which serves them well when they have swamplands to hide their movements. Simok crosses his arms, but this will not deter the Estramorwan on open ground. Eder says, my experience, soon as someone in power decides he wants something that doesn't belong to him, there's no deterring at all. Yeah, like oil. When someone wants oil, they'll make up all kinds of reasons and justifications for an invasion or liberation, perhaps. Simok points at the warriors gathered near the fire. Our savagery has deterred the Estramorwan from further encroachment. They still tell of our deeds in the Broken Stone War, but if a child of Fisher Crane leads our tribe, we will lose that boldness, and the Estramorwan will lose their fear of us. The child will be influenced by the souls of her ancestors. In times of crisis, she will look to her kin in Thanebog for guidance. No matter what I might try to teach her, it will not be enough. Simok considers you. There is a way you could help. Few have the stomach for it, but I think you have the perspective to see why certain unpleasantness may be necessary. Aris says, go on. Simok says, this Orlan girl has the soul of a leader. If it were passed to one of my own offspring, our tribe would remain strong. Astelgair at Simok's side scratches its massive head on the Anamphas leg. He remains steady on his feet. The druids of Blood Sands have a way to do this, and they understand the importance of a strong line of succession for three-tusked Stelgair. Sagani scrapes around inside her ear with a pinky finger. I'm just a simple hunter from the tundra, so you'll have to slow down. You want us to do what? Simok gives you a key. There's a house in Southeast Hearthsong next to the river. The child will be asleep, and I've arranged for her to be unattended for a time. Simok's voice becomes a quiet rumble. Take her and bring her to Kipper Wurda in Blood Sands. She knows what must be done. When she presents you with the liquid essence, bring it back to me. Aris asks, what will Kipper Wurda do with the child? Simok's scarred face twists again. Have you seen the rituals of Blood Sands? She will sacrifice her. It is the only way to distill her essence. Oh, a human, or rather, a kith sacrificial. Eder says, be easier to kill this fella and distill his essence. Eder, shut your mouth. You are provoking a... We are in foreign territory here. Even Aris's forces are camping outside this place. They can't go in. Do you want to risk a war between Dirwood and Glanfathans? Be quiet, Eder. Simok says, the Orlan child? Go on. Aris says, I don't see why you need me to do this. Simok says, because I cannot do it without attracting undue attention. Simok frowns. I don't relish passing my own burdens on to another, but this will incite war between our tribes if I am caught. Aris asks, how can you possibly expect to get away with this? Simok says, few know the girl is here, and one Orlan babe will look much the same as the next. Simok shrugs, but let me worry about this. Aris says, tell me about the portion that you need from Wurda. Not portion, but potion. Simok says, essence, bound and distilled into a liquid. It will have little immediate effects on me, but it will weave a stronger soul in my future issue. Future issue? Do you mean children? Aris says, remind me where I can find the child. Simok says, she's staying in a house in Hearthsong. Follow paths to the southeast side of the district until you reach the river. Aris says, very well, I'll help you. Simok nods. You are a friend to the Glanfathan people. Act swiftly and quietly, Astramor. Aris says, I have questions about the task you asked of me. The Orlan child, says Simok. Go on. Simok nods. This chore is regrettable, but it is also necessary. Aris says, tell me about the three-tusked Stelgair. Simok says, the boldest and fiercest of the 6 great tribes of Glanfath. It was we who first defended against the Estramorwen, who came to shore 200 years ago. Simok raises his chin. We have always been the border tribe, and it has always fallen to us to hold the line against outsiders and invaders. So they live in the border. I guess right now their lands also exist in the border between Dirwood and Eirglanfath. Aris asks, "What do you do here?" Simok says, "As Anamfath of Three Tusks Telgair, I guide our tribe in all matters." Simok looks to the main room of the hut, where others have gathered. "I am in Twin Elms to confer with some of the other Anamfatha about the Onol Fen, your Hollowborn. We only have such birds here on occasion, but it has made us more vigilant about our neighbors." One Stelgair stretches, flexing its claws. Simok's eyes narrow. "There are some of us who believe your Onol Fen to be a punishment for the defilement of the builder's sites. Others say it's a plague carried by the Estramorwen. Some say it's because the Dirwoodens killed Widewen. Eothas. Kana says, "A plague of the soul? An interesting concept, but it hasn't spread beyond the boundaries of the Dirwood." "Yeah." Aris says, "Goodbye." Simok crosses his arms over his scarred chest. "Something else?" "Goodbye." Liras, a young man approaches you with a swift and purposeful stride. While you've never met him before, he has the same stern, wild look as Simok. He doesn't speak until he's right next to you. When he does, his voice is quiet. "Wait, I saw you speaking with my father." Aris asks, "What's this about?" Liras glances back at the room with Simok. "He's asked you to sacrifice Vela, hasn't he?" Liras grits his teeth. Maybe he's right about the Three Tusks Telgair growing weak. But if this is the price of strength, it isn't worth it. The tribes have survived this long because we've stuck together. Sagani does a double take. "Kid, are you sure that old elf's your father?" Aris asks, "Do you have another idea?" Liras frowns. "There's an herbalist among the Ovates of the Golden Grove, Bletha, that's her name. They all gather southeast of here, by the river. She could brew a poison. Simok wouldn't know the difference until it's too late." Sagani says, "There's the family resemblance." Aris asks, "Why not just return this child to her birth parents?" Lyra says, "It's complicated. A child sent to be fostered by another tribe isn't allowed to return. Unfortunately, explaining that we're shielding her from my father would make matters much worse for both tribes." Lyra tugs at a thin braid. Aris asks, "You want me to murder your father?" Lyra says no, but it's better than allowing him to murder this child. Aris says, "Let me guess, if Simok dies, you're next in line." Lyra says, "It's not like that. The Riau have already determined that my soul isn't strong enough. Whoever follows my father, it won't be me." Aris says, "I've got to think about this." Lyra scowls. I hope you don't have to think too hard about it. With another glance at Simok's chamber, he backs toward the door. I'm warning you now, Estramor. Don't go anywhere near Vela. I'm my father's son in one regard, anyway. Oh. A threat. Okay.